Namaste children, welcome to our next class. In last class you learned about the materials and their different properties like how they are shiny, how they are dull and why some materials will give sound, some will not give. This all you learned. In today's class you are going to learn about the things or the materials in the water. What happens when we drop the materials in the water, you are going to learn. You can see the plastic toy, how it is floating on the water. So about the materials, their state when we are keeping in the water, you are going to learn. So our today's topic is materials in water. And the new words you are learning here is FLOATS, floats. Floats means rests on the surface of a liquid. Rest on the surface of a liquid is known as float. And sink means fall slowly to a lower level in a liquid. Sink means slowly goes down to the bottom of the liquid. Now we will do this activity. As I mentioned, you all kept ready these all the things. Take some water in 2 glasses. Just add sugar and mix well and observe. After mixing it, can you see the particles in that? Can you see sugar back in the water? You could not see, right? That means where the sugar has gone, it mixed in the water. And when you mix the salt in the water and mix it well, can you see the salt back again? You could not see. That means where does the salt has gone? It mixed in the water. Now you drop this iron nail into the water. What happens? Will it mix in the water? No, it cannot. You can see this iron nail even after mixing also. It sink in the water. It goes down. It sink in the water. Right? And then you drop this stone in the water and see whether it sink or float. Definitely it goes down. That means slowly going down to the water, that's known as sink. And then see the plastic ball. Well, this plastic ball can float in the water. Is this plastic ball floating in the water or sinking in water? It floats on the water. How the plastic toy is floating like that. And what about this leaf? Leaf also floats on water. Understood, children? Now what you will understand by this activity, we'll see now. Why some materials are sinking in the water, why some materials are mixing, why some are floating. Okay. So to understand this, watch this video.
Different things act differently in water. Salt and sugar mix in water. Iron nail sinks in water. Leaf and ball float in water.
Yes, you can enjoy by doing this activity, right? What actually happening? Which things did you see float, sink and mix? You know very well. You had just now seen what happens when we add things in the water. Things float. Which things are floating? Like plastic ball is floating and the leaf is also floating. Plastic ball and the leaf both are floating. And things which are sinking like iron nail and the stone which are heavy, they sink, and which are light in weight, they are floating. And some things will mix up in the water, right? So by doing this activity you can understand different materials will show the different property with water. Now, what happens to the things when we drop them in the water? Things can float, sink, or mix when we drop in the water. Just now you had seen sugar, salt, and lemon juice and ink can mix in the water, whereas sand and stone do not. A plastic spoon float in water, whereas metal spoon sink in the water. So which have weight than the water they are sinking. Which property of water is used to make lemonade? Lemonade preparation, sugar will use, lemon juice will use, and the water. Sugar and lemon juice can mix in the water, so the mixing property we are using to make a lemonade. Yes, that's what given here. Lemonade is made from sugar, salt, and lemon juice. Now we will see the workbook. Materials in the water. A help box is given. Circle the things that mix in the water. So, which things can mix up in the water? Salt can mix it up? Yes. Sand? Do not. Ink? Yes. Coffee powder? Yes. Cotton cannot, and sugar can also mix in the water. And now write float next to the things that float and sink next to the sink in water. So rose petals float, definitely they float on the water, and whereas metal ring sink in the water, a feather float in the water, which are light in weight, they'll float, and brick sink, leaf float, steel fork sink. So you have to divide the materials like this, which are showing sink property and which are mixing property, which are showing floating property. Why are swimming tubes made of plastic? Because plastic will float on the water, so that by sitting on this plastic, people can enjoy. That's why we are using the floating property, and we are using swimming tubes for swimming. Understood? Now we will see what are the questions given in practice column. Before answering this practice question, you can nicely go through the lesson, read the lesson clearly, and then answer it. It's from your content book. Open content book and read 8.3 materials in water. Beautiful pictures are given. Read this neatly before answering the practice questions. Sam added something in water. After stirring for 2 minutes, it was not visible and the water became sweet. What can it be? Because the sugar mixed in the water, because of mixing property that cannot be seen. That's what you can write. Sort the materials as those that float in water. This you know very well. You can sort them which can float. That means above the water which items can be seen. You just pick them up and write in your notebook. Many people put rose petals in a bowl of water for decoration. Which property of rose petal is used? The floating property of rose petal is used. Can we use metal balls in the same way as rose petals? Why and why not? No, metal ball is heavy weight, so metal ball can sink, it cannot float. So this answer you have to write by your own children, and then we will go to the